This review was prepared by Dinara Davlembayeva and Eleftherios Alamanos and published by TheoryHub. TheoryHub covers a wide range of theories and acts as a starting point for theory exploration in different research and teaching and learning contexts. This is a review of the social exchange theory. Social exchange theory explains the social behavior in dyadic and collective relations by applying a principle of a cost-benefit analysis of relations. Social exchange theory emerged at the end of the 1950s and has since developed into a large body of research on social behavior. The emergence and the development of the theory were largely attributed to the works of John Thiebaud, George Homans, Peter Blau, and Harold Kelly. They were interested in the psychology of small groups, aiming to understand interpersonal relationships in communities and dyadic relationships. Specifically, Homans used a reductionist approach to explain the relationships between people through reinforcement mechanisms, whereby the behavior of social actors is reinforced by reward and inhibited by punishments. The idea that the reinforcement mechanism underpins social relations stemmed from the research on operant conditioning. That stream of research viewed behavior as a result of a learning process through the positive and negative consequences that such behavior entails. Blau built the theory by offering a technical economic perspective on the analysis of the properties of social systems. While he shared similar views on rewards and punishments, his research approach derived from the principles of utilitarianism. He considered the rationale for behavior resulted from anticipation, rather than the perception of actual gains. Thiebaud and Kelly applied theoretical concepts to human decision-making in social groups and developed matrices to predict the outcomes of relations. The matrices represent different outcomes of exchange defined by the different proportions of costs and rewards that people incur in interpersonal relations. An individual's decision to continue or participate in exchange depends on the degree to which it brings better rewards or higher economies in costs compared to other competing relations. Although the approaches of the theory, construction, and analysis diverged among the four scholars, they shared the idea that behavior in social groups is a form of exchange. The differences in the perspectives on the analysis of social relationships have defined the evolution of the social exchange research and the significant role that it played in the literature. The emergence of social exchange theory brought together the sociological, economic, and psychological perspectives, advancing research on human behavior. This approach aimed to resolve debates in the literature about using economic approaches in anthropological research. Due to the heavy reliance on a rational interpretation of human decision-making in the market context, the applicability of economic theories to normatively regulated behavior had been questioned. Therefore, the development of the social exchange research enabled the application of a quasi-economic type of analysis to social systems. Also, the interdependence concept introduced by the social exchange theory aimed to contribute to sociological theories. Prior anthropological research viewed people as independent from the actions of other actors and focused on the cognitive processes involved in deriving the meaning of things motivating behavior. Such an approach provided limited insight into the motives and outcomes produced during interaction. In contrast, social exchange theory articulated the utilitarian function of social relations and their contingency on other actors. It paved the way towards understanding the rational mechanisms underpinning decision-making and the perception of the outcomes of social exchange. Social exchange theory explains four main constituents of the social behavior of individuals. First, the framework defines reinforcement tools, namely the rewards, benefits, and resources of exchange, underpinning individuals' motivation to engage in social interaction. A reward is an outcome of relations having a positive connotation, while a resource is an attribute giving a person a capability to enable the reward, stimulating people to embark on exchange relations. Resources can represent love, status, money, information, services, and goods. The associated rewards for exchanged resources can be allocated along a two-dimensional matrix. The first dimension is particularism, which indicates that the worth of exchanged resources depends on the source. For instance, a monetary resource is evaluated as low at the particularism scale, as regardless of the source, the value of the money is the same. In contrast, love has a high particularism score, as the value of this resource is strongly associated with the provider. The second dimension of resources refers to concreteness, which is the degree of the resource's tangibility. The resources which have low concrete value could be regarded as symbolic and have more value for receiving parties. Overall, resources enable two types of rewards: socio-emotional and economic benefits. The socio-emotional benefits result from situations when acquired resources increase self-esteem and tackle social needs, while the economic benefits address financial needs. The second constituent refers to the mechanisms of exchange. The theory postulates that resources are exchanged based on the subjective cost-reward analysis. Such an analysis is contingent on two main conditions defining the decision of the person to perform exchange relations. These conditions are the degree to which a similar performance has been rewarded to a person or other people in the past, and the degree to which the result of the exchange is valuable to a person. Third, social exchange relations are stimulated by social structures and social capital factors. The dependence on social structures reflects the contingency of the outcome of interactions on the initial relationship between the parties. Social capital represents different forms of social entities, including norms, rules, information channels, expectations, and obligations. These entities are embedded in the structures of social organizations. Social capital can not only facilitate, but also restrict the development of social relations and their outcomes. The outcomes may include power and equity distribution within social networks. Thus, the structural relation between the actors of the sharing economy platform reflects the number of valued resources that the actors control and the balance of resource distribution against other actors. Social capital was examined not only as a factor facilitating the cooperation between people, but as a reward of relations. It was found that interpersonal interactions are driven by the expected maximization of social benefits. The fourth mechanism underpinning social exchange is reciprocity, which creates obligations between the parties. The explanation of the role of reciprocity in social exchange and interdependence between social actors stems from research on experimental economics and evolutionary psychology, postulating that humans are evolutionarily predisposed to behave in such a way as to ensure reciprocation. People have developed mental matrices on the balance of rewards costs in relations that underpin decision-making. Given the above, the process of social exchange can be presented as a two-step behavioral model. The social exchange is initiated from the positive or negative treatment of the target of exchange. A positive action is rewarding for the target and can represent the provision of support, high-quality service or goods. A negative action can represent the sacrifices that the target bears, such as abuse, selfishness, or bullying. In response to such actions, the target actor reciprocates with good or bad behavior to achieve equity, whereby good behavior is reciprocated with a good deed, and negative behavior causes a negative response. A series of positive exchanges favoring both parties tends to translate into long-term cooperation and commitment. Due to the economic principle of cost-benefit analysis in social exchange theory views motives, perceptions and outcomes of social behavior as rational and actors of exchange as emotionless. While the theory claims that social relations are sustained due to rational choices and reinforcement mechanisms, it does not consider the mediating role of emotions that are intertwined in those mechanisms. Emotions are positive and negative states with neurological and cognitive properties. To bridge the gap in the literature, Lawler developed the affective theory of social exchange. The theory draws on a review of the literature on emotions and their implications for the contexts, processes, and outcomes of exchange. Emotions refer to an internal state that can be attached to an ambiguous source or attached to a specific event or object. Sentiments refer to an enduring affective state in relation to the social context or object. Global emotions potentially transition to specific emotions and sentiments. The goal of the theory was to understand the conditions in which social exchange leads social actors towards attaching global negative and positive emotions to social objects and develop enduring negative and positive feelings to them. A social exchange was assumed to produce positive and negative global emotions depending on the outcomes of the exchange. These emotions serve as a distinctive type of rewards and punishments. An exchange can motivate actors to carry out or refrain from the exchange, as a way to reproduce positive emotions and prevent negative ones. Affective states motivate actors to invest cognitive effort in understanding the sources of emotions. Global emotions can trigger an attribution process. Attribution is the process of associating emotions with more specific, object-focused emotions. Objects include task, self, other, relationships, and social groups. The explanation of the source of global emotions by actors is carried out with reference to social objects, such as people, social relations, events, or social networks. That means that emotional attribution results in either affective attachment or detachment from objects. The theoretical assumptions of the affective theory of social exchange provide a detailed account of the conditions under which particular types of emotions are manifested and their role in regulating the evaluation process of social exchange outcomes. The theory does not dispute the rational premises of social exchange, but rather complements social exchange theory with the theorization of the non-rational aspect of behavior which is inherent to humans. Thank you for listening. To download the full review or to read other theory reviews, visit open.ncl.ac.uk.